Hello, hello, families. Welcome back to our Family U Chat series. Today, we are doing another session with the Office of the Bursar, where we make sure that you have all of the questions answered that you need. This is part of our Family U Chat series, which is our series where we talk to campus partners and make sure that you have the answers to all of the questions that you need. As always, our recordings will be available on YouTube, Facebook, and on our website afterwards. And so, as soon as we're done, I will upload those and make sure that you all have access to them so that you can review them or you can send them to your student if you need to. Today, I'm joined by our bursar, who you have met numerous times, but again, want to welcome Erin Shadle to talk to you about the Office of the Bursar.
Thanks, Jonathan. Good morning or afternoon, everyone. As Jonathan said, my name is Erin Shadle. I'm visiting with you from the Bursar's office here at UMass Amherst. Joining me on the call today are two of my coworkers, Jill Moulton and Kim Fawcett. You will not see them, but they are here to answer your questions should you have any. You can submit them through the Q&A feature on Zoom. So we're going to get started. Again, I'm welcoming you from the Bursar's office here at UMass Amherst. And what we're going to do today is we have a brief agenda, but I did want to touch on a couple things that are pertinent to this time of year. One is spring 2024 registration. Then we'll touch on spring 2024 bills. And then I will finish up today talking about the tax statements as we get to the end of the year. I know a lot of families have their sights set on tax returns for this tax year. So we'll talk about the 1098T statement, which has to do with the tuition or the educational expense credit. So first and foremost, spring 2024 registration is now open. I think there may be some students whose registration date is scheduled for next week, early next week, but in general, spring 2024 registration is open and it will remain open until February 7th. So your students will have an opportunity to register for classes, change classes, add or drop until the end of what we refer to here at UMass Amherst as the add drop period, and that is February 7th. That is for our undergraduate population. For our graduate population, the deadline to register or make changes to your enrollment is the 14th. It's one extra week. But for our undergraduate students, it is February 7th. So if your student decides they want to change a class, add a class, whatever the case may be, they have until February 7th to do so. Tied to spring 2024 registration are our bills. Spring 2024 bills will be sent in early January. The first week of January is probably a little bit optimistic. We're just coming back from a holiday break, just like probably many of you are. And we have a lot to do that first week to get the bills prepared and ready to go out to you. So expect the spring 24 bills in early January. The key here is that they will be sent after the holidays. So don't expect to see anything in December with regard to spring. The due date for the spring 2024 bills is February 10th. So you will have about a month. You can expect the same as fall. So you can start planning now for spring. Fall and spring bills, because we are on a term a semester-based billing system. Fall is typically almost exactly the same as spring unless your student has made any changes to their account. And we will have a payment plan available for spring similar to fall. You can enroll in the payment plan. It will allow you to pay over the 5 months of the spring semester, which is January through May, and it's the same terms as with the fall. You can select either the 10th or the 20th to pay. In spring, because we wait so long to bill, we wait until after the holidays, the payment plan installment, the first installment will be due before the due date of the bill. So I just want to make you aware of that you will have if you choose the 5 installment payment plan, you will have a payment due in January. You can select to pay your bill in 4 monthly installments, which is February through May. And then you will not have a payment that's due before the due date of the bill. And then 1098T tax statements. So the federal government provides families who fill out their taxes a tax credit if you paid educational expenses within the tax year. So within the tax year of 2023, which is January 1st to December 31st, if you made a payment toward educational expenses, then your student will receive a 1098T tax statement. These statements are available also in early January. It's a very busy month for us. The tax statements are made out in the student's name. Regardless of who paid tuition, the tax statements are made out in the student's name. So you can claim those. You can see if you're eligible, excuse me, for the tax credit, provided that you claim the student as your dependent on your tax return. A student can access and print their 1098T statement online through Spire. So they can print it for you if you need a copy. They can send it to you if you need a copy. Our office will not email the forms to students because it does include tax and what we call PII, personal identification information on the tax form itself. So please talk to your student about accessing this form online. A little bit more about the 1098T tax statements. Who receives it is any student who paid for qualified educational expenses or receive financial aid in the form of scholarships or grants during the tax year. So again, that's January 1st to December 31st. It's very important that you understand that any only payments made toward qualified tuition and fees are counted. So you may pay much more than what you see on your student's 1098T form, but that's because we only count the payments that were made toward what the IRS refers to as qualified tuition and fees. And those are listed here for you so you have an idea. Tuition and mandatory fees are eligible expenses. Schools and colleges fees, which are things like the honors college fee, Eisenberg engineering, nursing, those fees are included as eligible. And other enrollment related fees, such as the new student enrollment fee, the commencement fee for our graduate students, it's the entering fee, and class materials fees are included within the 1098T. Non-eligible fees are room and meal plan, health insurance, those are the big one, parking fines, athletic fees, late fees, or fees related to non-credit courses are not included on the 1098T tax statements. So again, you may have paid more than what you see on your 1098T tax statement, and that's because only part of your payment will qualify for the educational expense. It's important also to note that a 1098T statement is for informational purposes only. It's not a plug and play document where you take the number off the 1098T and put it into your tax form. The information on the 1098T is used to determine whether or not you qualify for the tax credit. So when we go to the next page, I did include information, including the websites for our Bursar page, which it has some FAQs about 1098T forms, and the IRS website, which will explain how you can use the information available on the 1098T tax form. If your student does not receive a 1098T, there could be a few reasons why they don't. Student whose qualified educational expenses were entirely waived or paid with scholarships. So there's nothing to claim. There's no expenses that you paid out of pocket. If the tuition and fees, eligible tuition and fees were paid by a scholarship, a grant, or a tuition credit that is not out of your pocket, then you would not qualify for a tax credit and therefore may not get a 1098T form. Students whose qualified educational expenses were entirely paid by a third party. So if your employer pays your student's bill, if you are sponsored by a government entity who pays the bill for your student, you may not receive a 1098T. And there's a couple other reasons listed here. This is also available on our website under the FAQ section. But basically, students who don't have a valid address, social security number, or TIN number, or students who are non-resident aliens do not receive a 1098, may not receive a 1098T tax form. More information again is found on our website, the Bursar's office website, or the IRS website. The 1098T form itself is fairly straightforward, although the idea of what to do with it and whether or not you qualify for a tax credit is a bit complicated. No one in my office is a certified tax professional, so we cannot give tax advice. We are just not qualified to do so, but we certainly can explain what is included on the tax form. And then you would work with a tax professional to figure out whether or not you qualify for the expense. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please submit them through the Q&A feature. I know I'm going through this a bit quickly. And again, this is kind of an abbreviated session. So those are our three main agenda items. If you have other items that you'd like to discuss, we can certainly submit a question and I can answer it live. The only other thing I wanted to mention before we go to the next slide is actually about registration. As we get to the end of the semester, and I hope your students have enjoyed their fall 2023 semester here at UMass, but as we get to the end of the semester, any student who still has an unpaid bill from fall 2023 will not be able to access their grades at the end of the semester. So you want to make sure that your student is in good financial standing. They need to be in good financial standing, meaning that their fall 2023 bill is paid in order to be able to register for spring, but also in order to be able to see their grades and receive a transcript for this semester. So if you are having difficulty paying the bill, or if you haven't gotten your loan application in yet, there's still time. Please give us a call in the Bursar's office if you're having trouble, or if we can answer any questions for you. But I did want to mention that aspect of it. The final, if I can go forward. Okay, the final slide that I have for you today, I have every monthly presentation that we do. It's the security setup for students who are here at UMass Amherst. So the federal government provides, protects information related to students through the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. We refer to this as FERPA. So a student's information is protected, and we cannot share this with anyone unless the student expressly consents to us sharing the information. And so as attendees of this session, you have an interest in the financial aspect of your student's education, and therefore likely would appreciate access to their financial information. So these are the three levels of security that we offer here at UMass Amherst. All three levels of security are initiated by your student. So your student has to be the one to set up access for you. If your student were to set up all three levels of access for you, it would take your student literally 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to get everything set up. So this is not a cumbersome activity, but it is something that's important that I like to touch on at every session. So the first level is FERPA access. Designees, students can waive their FERPA rights, which means that they tell us who we can speak with about their financial account and or financial aid. Our financial aid office will ask you for a FERPA access code, which will be assigned to you by your student. We will ask for the same here in the Bursar's office, and a FERPA waiver allows the financial aid office and the Bursar's office to speak with someone over the phone about a student account. So when your student waives their FERPA rights, it's not a blanket waiver and we can talk to anyone. They actually have to indicate who we can talk to. And the way we identify that person is by asking you for your FERPA access code. It's a 4-digit code that your student will set up for you. Have this conversation with your student so it's a number that you will remember and not just a random number that they chose. The second level of access is called authorized payer. By being set up as an authorized payer, your student is giving you access to go online to our online billing and payment system, which we call Quick Pay. You will have your own logon ID and password, and you will be able to log in and view the student bill, pay the student bill, set up a payment plan. And that level of access will also allow us in the Bursar's office, only the Bursar's office, to be able to speak with you over the phone as well, because we can see that you've been set up as an authorized payer to be able to view the bill. So when calling the Bursar's office, if you want to talk to us about your student's account, you will either need your FERPA access code, which is a 4-digit code, or you will need to be set up as an authorized payer. I would strongly encourage you to do both, because our financial aid office will not speak with you if you're just an authorized payer. You also have to have the access code. And then the third and final level of security is actually something that should be improving as we move into the spring semester. So more to come on that and in future webinars, but it's called delegated access. And delegated access will allow your student to give you access to go into Spire. So Spire is the student's online account. You will have your own login and password to the Spire system. And when you get into that system, you will able to see limited information about your student's financial aid, their housing, their student account, which is their bill, their billing account, any holds or to-dos that they have on their account. So anything that's holding them from taking further action, anything our financial aid office may be waiting for them to provide, that will all be accessible to you if your student signs you up for delegated access. You will never see a student's grades through any of these 3 levels of security access. It's just not something that our university shares with anyone. So you will have to speak with your student if you want to know what their grades are. But these are the 3 levels of security. All 3, again, are initiated by the student, and they are initiated through the student's Spire access. As we move into the spring semester, as I mentioned, delegated access will have some improvements, and we will have a video tutorial online to help our students and parents navigate this specific security access. Are there any questions, Jill or Kim, that have come up that you think I should address? No, I'm seeing no's. Okay. So this was a very quick session today. I'll keep talking for a few more minutes here just to see if there are any questions that come up. But from our office to your family, we certainly want to sincerely wish you a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. We hope that your students will get a little bit of a break and come back ready to finish off the semester. And there is one thing that I should remind you of. The payment plan, if you had a payment plan in the fall semester, it does not automatically roll over for spring. You will need to re-enroll in a payment plan, a new payment plan for the spring semester. And if you want the 5 installments for the payment plan, you will have an installment that will be due in January. You can pay your bill in 4 installments, which will be February through May. That's not a problem at all. But I do want to make you aware that if you want it in the 5 installments, so you're paying 20% each month, you will have a payment due in January, even though the bills are due in February. So back to our wishes for a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and a restful break for your students. And we look forward to seeing them back on campus after the holiday and certainly back on campus in the spring semester. Again, any questions, you're welcome to reach out to our office directly. I very much appreciate your time today. I know many of you are probably on your lunch break, and I look forward to seeing you in December.
Thanks, Erin. So as always, families, thank you so much for being here. Erin, thank you for being here. Our recording will be up later today on our YouTube, Facebook, and website. And so feel free to use that recording as you see fit. All right, everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.